There we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Thursday, December 8th, 2011. I am just going to go over the trades we took this morning in the live trading room. We actually took 4 trades. Let me go over the results of those 4 trades. Here they come. Should be popping up here any moment. No ticks. We were break even after 4 trades. Now I'll go over the trades. Okay. We started out. Yeah, I really do need a new computer for Christmas. We started out. The market was really choppy, and the BBC was inside the box for quite some period of time this morning. Okay. Oops. We'll scroll through it here. Hopefully, a little slower than that. The BBC was stuck inside the box, and we had to wait for it to get outside of the box before we could take a trade. Now, when I say the box, what I mean is this area right here that's created by the CF elbow. All right. Yeah, so we were stuck inside the box, and we were waiting for it to get outside the box so we could take a trade. Unfortunately, when it got outside the box, it did it right down here at a weekly trading zone. This was a trade setup right here if we were not outside the box. I mean, if we were not right on top of the weekly trading zone, this was a setup, but we didn't take it because we were right on top of the zone. It would have worked out just fine had we taken it, but we had to wait till we got outside of the zone. This right here was our first trade of the day. You can see this one went down here. It gave us 6 ticks profit, I think, at one point. And I was considering moving my stop up to 1 point, but I didn't, and it came back and it got me out at break even. So I had a break-even trade on that one. That was my first trade. I had a break-even over there. I'll just go through the trades here on the 4-tick range, okay, and then we'll jump over to the other time frame where I took a trade today. All right. Over here, we were waiting for it to get back. Now we're waiting for it to get above the weekly trading zone, and once it did finally get above the weekly trading zone, it pulled back down to the BBC right here. It entered us in, and it gave us 5 or 6 ticks profit again. At which time we moved our stop up to break even, and we were taken out at break even again. All right. As the afternoon wore on, we had other trades in here, but we didn't take them on the 4-tick range. We took 2 trades on the 2100 tick. All right. And this got into our break period here. This was during the break, so I don't know what happened during the break period. Looks like the market went down a little bit more. Just a little bit more here. Okay. Now let me go over here. We took trades off the 2100 tick today. Okay. You can see we took this trade right here, and just a little bit before it, we took this trade right here. Now the trade setup on the 2100 tick is this. You look for the MA1 to cross over the BBC. The BBC is the green line. The MA1 is this other line right here. Once we had the crossover right here, we had a pullback down. The first pullback is what I look to enter on. But as long as you're getting lower pivots and you're not going into anything, then I've been told you can keep trading it. Okay, you can keep trading the bounces off the BBC. So we pulled back down to the BBC, and we crossed up above the 50 here, suggesting we could go long. Unfortunately, that trade didn't work out. It stopped us out pretty quickly. But the market turned around right there. Okay, when it turned around, it dropped through the zone, and we had a bearish cross of the MA1 over the BBC, and it pulled up back up to the BBC right here where we entered short, and we took full 2 points. So we lost 2 points here, we gained 2 points here. Those are the 4 trades we took. We took 2 over here that were break even on both. On this one we lost 2, on this one we gained 2. So we ended up break even on the day. All right. And that brings us current on the ES. Now the YM had a few trades today that I didn't take any of. I was trading the ES primarily today, and I wasn't watching the YM as closely as we normally do. But let me just show you the trades. They're all in orange right now. Okay. All right. Right here we had a bearish cross. This is the same type of setup. We had a bearish cross of the MA1 over the BBC with a pullback up to the MA1 right here. The entry would have been right in there, looking for it to get down to the MA1 right here, from the BBC to the MA1. This is the window of opportunity. Then we had a bullish cross. This was right inside the weekly trading zone, so we didn't really want to mess with that. but the pullback was right there. You would have had to have been aggressive because it didn't pull all the way back, but right there, it would have been a decent trade if you were aggressive enough and got into it. All right, now it was right on top of the weekly trading zone, so I wasn't interested in that trade anyway. But the final trade comes right over here, and again, you would have had to have been aggressive. All right, after we had a bearish cross right here, it pulled down, pulled back up to the BBC, and so that trade would have been right in here. Okay, you would have been looking to short right there. Again, you would have had to have been aggressive because it didn't go all the way to the BBC. And that, my friends, is pretty much it on the day. All right, that would have been the trade right there. Okay, let me just talk a little bit about what happened with the swing trade. Now, it was, for some folks, it was a little bit confusing because we had wanted to put on a call and go short the futures contract. The reason we put on the call option was to protect against any sudden moves with the futures contract. We did have a stop at 68.5, and that stop was hit this morning. There was a spike on a news event this morning, and it spiked up, took out our stop. At the time that it took out our stop, the call option had accelerated in value as well. So the value of the call option, let's just say you had one contract on the ES, and we'll say just for argument's sake you had it on at 58, and so the stop was at 68.5 at 10.5 points. So that's 10.5 points. It's $525 risk is what you had per contract on the ES futures contract. The call option, they were 1265 calls, and they were available between 17 and 18 bucks. We'll just say worst case scenario, 18 bucks. At the time that the stop was hit with the futures contract, the call options had gained about 6.5 points. All right, so that was $325 profit on that. So if you take the $325 profit on that, take away the loss on the futures contract, then at that point, at that very point where you were exited out of the futures contract, the options contract was worth it had more than cut your loss in half, and that was the idea. That's what we wanted to protect against. We wanted to protect against any sudden moves based on this whole European thing. Now, right now we're flat. But again, if you're still holding on to the call option, there's a chance that it could still work out, but you're in hope mode right now, and you're losing on the call option. At some point, the call option has a definite value, but as we near the expiration date, which is just next week, I think, it's about next week. That call option is going to deteriorate in value. The value is going to start to go away. The time value, anyway, that's part of the option. So keep that in mind. All right. One other thing. Today is when the H2 contract becomes available. All right. It's rollover day. The volume is still split between the H2 and the December contract right now. So tomorrow is probably when we're going to roll our charts over from the ESZ1 to the ESH2. Okay, tomorrow will be the day that we do that. All right. Right now we're still trading the December contract. All right. And just for everyone's benefit, the way that this works is the current contract expires on the third Thursday. But the new contract becomes available a week before that. That's what makes today rollover day. It seems like it's early in the month, earlier than it usually is in the month, but that's because this month started on a Thursday. Okay? That said, I am going to end the recording, and we can go on with the rest of the show.